Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about the quadratic formula. We've been doing this in class for the last couple days, and we're going to be having a quiz on this pretty soon. But the quadratic formula is just another way that if we look at the parabola of a quadratic function, say f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, there are a couple really important points. These 2 points right here are my zeros, but they're also called roots. So, if we don't have a graph, sometimes it's difficult to find these, but the coefficients are the key to all of them, A, B, and C. The formula itself is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I would recommend when you're doing the quadratic formula by hand that you do everything step by step. Kind of break things up and not just plug it all into the formula at once. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 3x minus 4. Now, in order to find all of these different values, there are basically 3 different parts to it that you need to really be concerned about. The first part is the negative b. So, if we do that first, we'll say, well, I got to find a, b, and c. You have to be able to find those. And those will be the numbers, the coefficients, and the constant that you get here. A is the first one. It's the leading coefficient. A is 2. B, just take a look at the numbers. 3, but it's minus 3, so we get a negative 3. And negative 4 is your C value. Now, what I mean by doing piecemeal, or kind of working through this one step at a time, is, alright, I want to find the first part of it. The first part, let's get the opposite of B. So that's going to be the opposite of negative 3. The opposite of a negative number is a positive number, so negative b is equal to 3. I know it looks weird because it has a negative b, or we don't think of this as a negative sign. We want to think of that as an opposite sign. So that's opposite of b, not negative b. So if you think of it as the opposite, then hopefully it makes a little bit more sense when we say, what's the opposite of negative 3? Well, that's positive 3. It's on the other side of 0. Next up is this part right here, the b squared minus 4ac. And so if we go 2 and b squared minus 4ac, this part is really special because, one, it's underneath the square root, so we have to keep an eye on it because we can't take a square root of a negative number. So if we do that, then there are no zeros. But this is what we call the discriminant. And to reinforce what we've been doing in class, if b squared is negative, or not b squared, but b squared minus 4ac, the whole thing, is negative, you get 0 solutions or roots / zeros. If it's equal to 0, you get 1 solution, 1 root, or the 0. Roots and zeros are the same thing. And what I mean by solutions are solutions to ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And if it's positive, we get 2 solutions. So you're going to get 0 solutions, 1 solution, or 2 solutions. And the graph is either, say that's your x-axis. The graph is either going to hit it twice. That's your 2 solutions, or 2 roots, or 2 zeros. It's either going to hit it once, which will look like this. Or the vertex is the 0. Or it'll be up here where there's 0 roots, zeros, or solutions. So that's what we want to do here. So now what we want to do is I need b and I need negative 4ac. So I know my b is a negative 3, so find b squared. That's going to be negative 3 squared. When you're doing this, you can also just think of the number itself. Say, all right, well, I'm going to square this. I know it's going to end up being positive. I just take 3 times 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now, we can figure out what 4ac is. And we could go 4 times a, which we know from the beginning is 2. So 4 times 2 times c, which is a negative 4. So this would be 8 times negative 4, which is equal to negative 32. So there's your 4ac. Now what we have is we want to do b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 9 minus a negative 32. So if I'm subtracting a negative number, it's going to be 9 plus 32, excuse me on that one, which is 41. So my b squared minus 4ac is 41. So let me zoom that out a little bit. And now, step 3, I'll put it over here to maximize the paper. We need 2a, which is 2 times my a value, which is 2, which is 4. Now, step 4 would be put it all together. X is equal to, again, negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x is equal to negative b. That was from step 1. Negative b is 3 plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which is 41. So I get the square root of 41 all over 2a, which is 2a we figured out was 4. So what this means is that x is equal to 3 plus the square root of 41 all over 4, or x is equal to 3 minus the square root of 41 all over 4. And then we can use a calculator to figure out what those exact numbers are if we need them. This is an exact answer. So you can use your exact answer if you need to. Otherwise, you can just leave it as it is. Sorry that was tilted. If you use the Inspire calculator, there is an option in the menu. You can go down to Algebra. You can go down to Polynomial Tools, and then find roots of the polynomial. This will do the exact same thing as the quadratic formula. Now, we want degree of 2 because we have x squared. X squared is a degree of 2. We want the real answers because, yeah, there are other answers besides real numbers. And then there's the equation right up here. A squared, or not a squared, the first a is, this would be like ax squared plus bx plus c. You just have a sub 2, a sub 1, and a sub 0. So our answer, we had 2 for that one. The next one was a -3. And the next one's a -4. You tab down to OK. It'll plug in your polyroots, and we get the decimal answers for it without having to do the entire quadratic formula. So our calculator does a nice job with this for polyroots. But here's the big thing. What's the takeaway? What do you need? Why do we do it? So our big takeaway is this. We are finding solutions to ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Or we are finding the roots, the zeros, or the x-intercepts. All of these are the same. That's what we want to do. That's the quadratic formula. I know, 11-minute video to do a problem that we can dump into a calculator and get the answer in seconds. But it's good to know where it comes from. And it's good to know that, all right, I need to use the discriminant can tell me immediately how many I have. The a value can tell me if it's going to open up or down. So the 2 is positive, it opens up. My discriminant was positive, so I have 2 roots, or 2 zeros. We can get a lot of really good information out of this. So it's good to know where it comes from. Eventually we'll just end up using the calculator to find that, because we'll be using it for bigger and better things. So enjoy.